Today you'll read two excerpts from nonfiction books about animals and their senses. As you review these sources, you'll gather information so that you can write an essay. Directions. Read the two texts below. Respond to the writing prompt. Read the following excerpt from the book Deer. Seeing, smelling, hearing. Paragraph 1. If you were to put on your brightest red sweater and stand very still in front of a deer, it might not even notice you. That's because deer are colorblind. Those big, soft brown eyes see the world in shades of gray. A little like watching a black and white television set. To the deer, you would be just another grayish pattern in the forest. But move. Even just blink your eye, and a deer, with its excellent ability to spot movement, will see you. And if you're thinking of trying to sneak up on a deer from behind, don't bother unless the wind is blowing in the right direction. A deer has a very keen sense of smell. If the wind is carrying your scent its way, the deer will pick it up and be gone long before you can get near. If you're downwind, and downwind means the direction in which the wind is blowing. If you're downwind, the deer will not be able to smell you, but you will still not find it easy to get near, for the deer also has a sharp sense of hearing. When a deer lifts up its pointy ears, it can hear sounds long before you can. The first strange sound might not send it fleeing, but a second or a third will send it bounding away. Watch a deer bound, and you would swear it had springs in its legs. First, its two front legs touch the ground at the same time, and then its two back legs touch down. It takes 3 short bounds and then one big leap that can cover a distance about the length of a van. A deer can gallop as fast as a horse over short distances, and even a pile of rocks or a fence will not slow it down. It can clear obstacles 3 meters, about 10 feet high, or about the height of 2 medium-sized cars stacked on top of each other. Read the following excerpt from the book Owls. Ears that talk. That funny tuft that sticks up on the top of some owls' heads looks like ears or horns, and they are usually called one or the other. In fact, they are just special feathers, but they do serve a purpose. When an owl is resting quietly, these feathers are only slightly raised above its head. The moment something upsets the owl, up shoot the feathery tufts. If they stand up stiffly and a little forward, the owl is sending the same message a cat sends when it hunches its back and bushes out its tail. I am ready to fight for what is mine. Standing up but leaning slightly outward, the tufts send a less aggressive signal. You have no business here, but I am prepared to put up with you as long as you behave. And sometimes an owl that feels threatened will completely flatten the tufts, as if to say, "Don't mind me, I'm just a little owl trying to get along." Section 2. Owl eyes. Have you ever tried to finish up a baseball game just as the last rays of evening light were fading into darkness? Remember how difficult it was to see the ball? Dusk is the time of night when most owls start their hunting. How can they find tiny mice when it's too dark for us to see a large white ball? An owl's eyes are enormous. If the eyes on your head took up as much room as an owl's, each of your eyes would be the size of a grapefruit. With such large eyes, an owl can see much better in poor light than you can. But an owl cannot shift its large eyes from side to side the way you can. Its eyes are fixed in their sockets, just like the headlights of a car. When an owl wants to look around, it has to turn its whole head. This is no problem for an owl because underneath all those fluffy feathers, it has a very long, flexible neck. By twisting its neck, an owl can sit quite comfortably with its body pointed in one direction and its face pointed in the other. Many people think that owls cannot see well in the daylight. Actually, they see as well in the daylight as you do, but they're farsighted and do not see nearby objects clearly. In fact, day or night, an owl has trouble seeing its own feet. Section 3. Hidden Ears. Owls could never wear earrings. Their ears do not stick out the way yours do. Instead, owls' ears are simple slits, sometimes very long, or small round holes on the side of its head. Even so, owls hear much better than you do. In fact, most owls hear so well that they can hunt just by listening for tiny sounds a mouse makes as it scuttles about. Some owls have lopsided ears, one larger and higher than the other. The sounds of a mouse's movements will reach each of these ears at a slightly different time. From this difference, an owl can tell exactly where the sound is coming from. The special rings of curved feathers that surround each of the owl's eyes are called facial discs. These rings are very important to an owl because they help it hear. That's right, hear. The feathers in the facial discs are attached to the muscles that control the shape of the ears. Just as a dog moves its ears to hear better, an owl moves these rings of feathers to locate sounds. Writing, research, analysis task. You have read 2 texts on animal senses. Using the 2 sources, write an essay explaining how different animals use their senses to survive in their environment. You may begin writing now.